What's up, Mooncutter fans? As always, Joffrey Curry here to bring you what I can only say is, in my estimation, the best sports coverage I can. I think I'm getting all right with it, but anyways, real quick, I'm gonna say last week I also shit the bed on my bet the schedule because I went 8 for 8 or 8 and 8, just barely avoided having to wear a paper bag today. Would not have been happy. We'll review those picks here in a minute. But first, it is a big happy moment today on Mooncutter Sportscast because I get to bring someone special to the table that's going to be a pain in my ass, but a boon for your entertainment. Because when it comes to sports, he and I don't agree very often. But he's a good dude and he knows what he's talking about. So let's welcome the new co-host of Mooncutter Sportscast to the table. You got the GOAT. Now we're introducing the Yote because this is my good friend, Dante Yost. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hey, I look forward to this partnership as much as you and I may come to fisticuffs in the parking lot afterwards.
For sure.
Because we've discussed sports a lot while we were briefly working together at other locations. And how often did we agree?
50-50.
Okay, but when we disagreed, we kind of got heated in our discussions.
For sure.
Oh, this could be fun. I like the dynamic of having somebody that is willing to disagree.
Yeah, I agree with that. And say it's always nice to have good debates, especially whenever you know what you're talking about and you have some type of sports knowledge.
Anyways, as always, we got at least one person watching live. Make sure you're getting in on the conversation with comments. We'll be sure to bring you up if we catch you. Let's start with our week 2 takeaways from each game. Starting with the Chargers-Chiefs, Thursday Night Football. Once again, my bet the schedule parlay died on Thursday night. I had bet on the better quarterback. I had bet on Justin Herbert. Unfortunately, with him getting a rib injury in the third quarter and overall it being a back and close game, unfortunately the Chiefs did pull off the win and shot my parlay to hell on night 1. How much question can we say with the performance of your Austin Eckler in this game?
Honestly, that's one of my big takeaways. I mean, other than Mike Williams really getting involved, I mean, Eckler had 39 yards rushing at 2.8 yards a carry. So you're looking at nothing really on the ground. His majority of his fantasy value came from catching. But I mean, other than that, I mean, they really didn't look good overall. It was a close game, but I mean, there's really nothing that you're riding on that looks good for the Chargers on offense at the moment.
Let's hope that the rib injury doesn't sideline Herbert for more than a game, if that. Because I will say that rocket he threw in the closing moments of the game, impressed for knowing how hurt he was, impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The next game that I'll admit that I lost on my parlay, I had the Steelers going over the Patriots, and we will definitely touch more on the Steelers situation here in a bit. But the biggest takeaway I can say is Trubisky did not look very, very good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. And then I think the only thing that I really took away that might have been a positive, I mean, whenever the play calling was good, I mean, you could see the rhythm that he did have. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, you're not running the ball. You're not getting the ball in your playmakers' hands. And on top of that, Johnson's dropping passes again. So, I mean, it's pretty much the same as usual as far as it's going as a Steelers fan at the moment.
Now, we'll move on to a game that made me a lot of money, which I'll admit that on my bet the schedule and on the parlay I put that made me this money, I went opposite route on the winning team because on my bet the schedule, I'd actually would have started 0 for 3 because I picked the Ravens on bet the schedule. But let's just say I had a hell of a parlay that paid out at a plus 12,000 odds because I had picked the Dolphins over the Ravens money line, Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson to both score touchdowns for the Ravens, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to both score for the Dolphins. This parlay, the odds were stacked against me. Nailed it. And now I'm sitting pretty going into a week off of work next week. But I'll say this much. As much as I've been shitting on him and saying I'm not getting on the Tua train, that last touchdown drive with like a minute 11 to go, holy shit, maybe Tua is the real deal.
I think my big takeaway for that game, I mean, he started off a little rough, but once he got things going, I mean, I think he looked beautiful. I mean, he was able to get pretty much any throw off that he wanted. He looked really good in rhythm. And whenever you got Hill and Waddle with the speed that they have, it's so easy to get down the field, especially with the quick plays that they can make. So I think he looks great.
The first game that I called correctly for week 2, the Bucks over the Saints, which surprisingly, since I called this one correctly, my big takeaway is it looks like Father Time is finally starting to catch up to Tom Brady.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, he looks way off. I mean, I know he has all the off-field issues with him and his supermodel wife that he has going on over there, but I mean, you got to try to bring it in when playtime comes. I mean, I know you got your receivers hurt and et cetera, but you got to find a way to get it done whenever you claim that you can be the GOAT.
Now, my big question is how much of this can be attributed to the fact that he's missing his favorite target in Chris Godwin? Or do you think it's more a matter of that couch is starting to get uncomfortable for him? You muted yourself again. Dante.
Oh, my bad. Whenever you have Godwin in there, I mean, it definitely makes it easier for Brady. You got a bunch of targets. It's easier to get the ball out. It also shows how much he's missing Gronk. I mean, I think that really is a big aspect of the situation. That is really coming into play more often than not.
Okay. Next game, which also made me a decent chunk of money. The Jets and Browns. The Jets picking up a very impressive fourth quarter comeback to defeat the Browns. I mean, what was it? A minute and 41 seconds, and they were down by 13. Or let's just say down by 13 at the 2-minute warning and still won the damn game.
Yeah. I'm going to say my takeaway from that game, I'm going to say just to go into a little bit more depth, I mean, they were down 13 with, I mean, from what I watched, there was a minute 55 left on the clock. They had a chance, the Browns had a chance to put the game away. Instead, Chubb walks it into the end zone. Also, 2 plays before that, Hunt goes out of bounds and stops the clock. You have a 13-point lead. Why are you not trying to run the clock and manage the game? But I think overall, Garrett Wilson looked amazing. I loved everything that he did during that game. And so he was able to really get around Ward consistently. And then also on the last play before the touchdown, before the onside kick, Ward and Delpit made a missed coverage. They didn't know what coverage they were running. They were running zone, but they didn't know what zone they were running. So that's pretty much how that happened. But it's a really good, impressive comeback for the Jets. I like that game a lot.
Now, the other big thing I'm going to look at on this one is when the pressure is hot, Cleveland's defense seems like it falls apart.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to say it's just I think the biggest thing right now that I've been able to take away is, I mean, Myles Garrett's doing a bunch of nothing. I mean, especially through 2 weeks, you expect him to make a bigger impact, especially against the teams that he's played. And I don't think he's really done that overall. Usually, I feel like he would have forced a fumble or two by now. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. But their defense on their secondary is really, really in question here.
Moving on to another game that I called wrong. I had taken the Colts over the Jags. Didn't really watch this game. Don't have much input on it, but I do know that the Jaguars actually beat the Colts.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for me, I think the only takeaway that I had from it is, I mean, you're getting James Robinson's looking really good. I mean, he's not looking amazing over 100-yard performances, but he's looking decent. And then Kirk, with the signing that they made, I feel like it was a great pickup. He's looking great as well.
All right. Battle of the perennial bottom feeders here. The Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions. I had picked the Commanders. The Lions pulled off the win. Is this Goff finally starting to show a little bit of signs of life, or?
No, I agree with that. Honestly, I think Goff. Well, my one takeaway with Goff since he's come into the league is that there's times where he doesn't feel like it seems like he wants to pull the trigger but doesn't, and then there's times where it's like he's too indecisive and then he makes the wrong decision. So, I think overall, I think Goff is still a pretty solid quarterback. He's not amazing, but I mean he's going to manage the game accordingly. So I think it's a pretty good, solid quarterback for them at this point, unless they can go get somebody next year, which I don't really see anybody going to the Lions right now as far as offense. I mean, quarterback-wise, unless they make a big move. My only other takeaway was Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, 3 sacks for the rookie. I mean, you get drafted where you get drafted for a reason. So I think that's a good game for them as well.
Not to mention, this is his hometown debut.
Exactly.
Like, he's playing where he wanted to play. He lives he lives like what, a half hour from the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Now the Panthers the Panthers lost to the Giants. I had them going over, lost that bet. I can't believe I'm saying this because I expected big things from him with the new team, but doesn't seem like Baker Mayfield's able to get much together with the Carolina offense, other than brief flashes with Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna say it just seems to be, how should I say? It seems like he's more on cruise mode. He's on cruise control. He doesn't really seem to be taking any assertiveness. And again, Mayfield being Mayfield, he's missing certain throws that he should be making. Other than that, the only positive that you can really say on the Panthers, in my opinion, is that at least Christian McCaffrey's doing decent. I mean, he's not hurt yet. So other than that,
we can expect to have maybe 2 more productive weeks out of him before he's on IR.
Yeah, probably.
Then again, we could say the same on the other side with Saquon Barkley too. So
yeah, I can agree with that as well.
The one game that I could say I knew damn well which direction it was going to go. The Rams defeating the Falcons. I mean, what more can you say other than they still look like the Super Bowl winning offense that they proved to be last year? And for on the Falcons end of things, doesn't look like Marcus Mariota was up to the par of filling in for departing Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. And I say the Rams offense, I mean, the only thing that I would take away as a negative, there's times where I felt like he was just kind of forcing the ball to Kupp. I mean, which is typical, especially with that, connection that they have. But through 2 weeks, I mean, you're looking at Detroit Stafford, other than the man's throwing, he's pick city. I mean, it's literally a pick machine. I'll say that until the day he retires. But as far as the Falcons go, I mean, I think they actually look decent. Their record doesn't really dictate how good they are. I mean, Drake London looked amazing. I mean, it's through 2 weeks. But yeah, no, I agree. Mariota doesn't really look too comfortable back there. I'm gonna say, while I was watching the game, there's a couple plays that had me just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, had me very confused. But at this moment, I'd rather take him over their rookie quarterback that they have going on right now.
Okay. 49ers over Seahawks. Don't have much to take away from this. Didn't get to watch this one. I will say I did take the Niners over the Seahawks simply because as a Jets fan and somebody that's seen him in his quote unquote prime, I know damn well how much of a bum Geno Smith is. So didn't really expect much for him as the starter for Seattle.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. I think that, Geno Smith just doesn't have it going on whatsoever. I think the biggest takeaway that I have is, one, you're not getting the ball to your playmakers. Two, DK Metcalf is doing absolutely nothing. Granted, he's not really getting open, but you're not getting the man the ball. It doesn't really make it any easier on you. As far as the Niners go, I think one of my biggest takeaways for that was, Trey Lance is out, which sucks. Not saying that I felt like he was going to have an amazing fantasy year, but I felt like it was going to be at least his year to at least say, hey, look, I'm the starter. But Jimmy G's back, and Jimmy G is going to win some football games. So I actually see them, once they get back and healthy, I think that they'll be able to move down the field and put up some points and get some wins. Maybe see them in the playoffs again.
Now, am I the only one that's sitting here thinking that Trey Lance being out for the year, forcing Jimmy G back under center, forcing Shanahan to put Jimmy G back in? Am I the only one that's sitting here saying that this is a good thing for the 49ers?
No, I completely agree. I think, in my opinion, and I have a couple 49ers fans on my friends list that will tell you Jimmy G is the guy. He fits perfectly into that offense. At times in the playoffs he does struggle, but he fits perfectly into that offense and what they're trying to do. I don't see it looking any other way than moving in that direction, but they think Trey Lance is the guy, so I guess we'll see down the line.
All right, now the game that ended up being the biggest upset to me, which I'll say this one, I called this one wrong as hell, but the Cowboys pulled off a big win over the Bengals. Even without Dak Prescott, even without Michael Gallup. I personally, and if I'm not mistaken, Dalton Schultz also went down in the second quarter. Like, Cowboys missing 3 of their big time players in this game and still completely destroy the Bengals. Like, is there some truth to the Super Bowl hangover?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think one of their, my biggest takeaways is you go out and spend all that money on a new offensive line, and it looks worse than last year. You go out and take the person from the Cowboys and put him on your offensive line, and he's just not doing anything. It's definitely a Super Bowl hangover for sure. I think, the lack of spreading the ball around, I think, is a real issue. You're turning the ball over a lot. And then Mixon's really not having a decent start either. So all around, they're looking like a big question mark at the moment. But, I think this week things could kind of take a little bit of a change this week. So I think they'll get back on track.
Okay. Another thing I want to point out is that Dallas backup, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but it definitely looks like in this game here, he might, as hard as it is to say, he might have better chemistry with the receiving core than Dak.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. Again, I have a lot of Cowboys fans, friends on my friends list, and right now everybody's kind of saying the same thing. They really like how he looked overall, and he looked really special, especially the connection that he had with a lot of them. So But then again, he gets the majority of the reps in the preseason with all those guys whenever Dak was out with the injury. And, so that gives him a little bit of an edge.
All right, Ryan Solo, one of my good friends that is a diehard Cowboys fan, came to the rescue here. The backup's name is Cooper Rush. And I guess he missed the whole damn live stream. I don't know if he's talking about our show or if he's talking about the Bengals Cowboys game.
Might be the show.
Now, the next one I wanted to discuss, that we got 4 more games left from last week to go over. But the Cardinals defeating the Ravens. Not going to lie, I expected more from Vegas this early in the season. Looking at how good they were last year, it definitely seems like Matt McDaniels has taken away from what made them good last year, as opposed to making them a more cohesive unit.
I think for me, I just feel like they're getting started late. I don't feel like they're getting a lot of rhythm going. And when they do, the ball's only going to Adams. There's 3 times that I counted during that game where he's just forcing the ball to Adams when he has a wide open Waller or a wide open Hunter Renfrow, which is a huge takeaway for me, which really makes things difficult. And you're not going to get anything going on offense whenever you're just forcing the ball to one guy. And I think a lot of people see that. The only person that I've seen it really work with at times was DeAndre Hopkins whenever he was still playing with Houston, and Cooper Kupp last year.
True. My big takeaway on this is, like you were saying about him trying to force feed the ball to Deontay Adams, was not the way I figured their season was going to go, because you've got, God, I'm drawing a blank. Hunter Renfrow, who pretty much carried your offense last year when it comes to receiving. And God, I'm drawing a blank on their tight end's name. I want to say
Darren Waller.
Thank you. Because I was wanting to say Jalen Waddle, but I'm like, no, that's the Dolphins. But you would think there'd be a little bit more of Derek Carr wanting to continue working with where he has chemistry instead of force feeding the new guy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agreed with that. I think that was my biggest takeaway. Is just I knew the connection was there with Adams, but I figured that he would be utilizing his other receivers and feeding off of that. Obviously, Adams is going to demand his targets and everything like that, but I really didn't see it going this way so far.
All right. We got the Packers picking up a win over the Bears. Did anybody expect anything else? I mean, come on. Aaron Rodgers, by his own words, still owns them.
Yeah, I didn't see that game going any other direction. I mean, until the day Aaron Rodgers retires, he literally is a shareholder of the Bears.
And the Vikings and the Eagles.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, sorry, Vikings. Yeah, Eagles is the 4th team in that division.
No, Eagles is over with the Cowboys.
Vikings, Eagles, Packers, and Giants. No, Giants is with the Eagles.
Yeah,
Who the fuck's the 4th team?
I can't remember overall. I think
Either way,
one thing that I suck at is the divisions.
Either way, moving on to a game that could have been close. I didn't get to watch this one because it's not the game that was being broadcast on that Monday night games, but the Bills over the Titans, from what I did see, it was a blowout.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to say I don't really know how I felt about the situation. I think the overall, we got a visitor.
What's up, dude?
He's just staring into the abyss. I think that game overall was just, what else can you say about it?
The Bills are starting this season hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if they can continue this pace, I can see them walking their way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're running all over teams, and the connection between Diggs and Allen is just insane right now.
Not to mention, he's got a hell of a receiver on the other side that's been picking up some big work with Gabe Davis too. Like, the Bills look like the full package, other than maybe running back. But when it comes to their passing offense, you can't beat them. And then the last game, which I apparently won, so I know I took the Eagles over the Vikings. But to be honest, when I tuned this game in on Monday night, I had just come off of a 10-hour shift at a frac plant, out in the sun, the weather, wrenching all day. I was exhausted. I think I maybe watched like 2 snaps and passed out. So I'm going to leave you to give the takeaways from this game, Dante.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch that cut out on me.
I said I didn't get to watch this game because I think I watched 2 snaps. I tried to watch it, got 2 snaps, and then passed right the fuck out. Oh, sorry. But the Eagles over the Vikings?
Yeah, I think for me, as far as the Eagles go, I mean, through 2 games, Hurts is looking like that man. Came out, he played really well. I mean, I don't think he missed a single throw overall. I think he looked really good. But I mean, other than that, I mean, AJ Brown connection looks great. You know, they look really good overall. Their defense played amazing. I mean, Darius Slay comes out with the 2 picks. So I think overall it looked really good. I kind of felt like this was a trap game for the Vikings, considering how good they started the season. But I mean, this week coming up, even though I'm kind of talking into the future, Vikings versus the Lions, amazing game, especially for the Vikings.
It's going to be an interesting show, a big divisional matchup for sure. I just want to cop back to one comment that I didn't want to say anything about while you were discussing that, but thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Now we're getting ready to roll on to week 3 predictions before we get into the big quarterback debate. That being said, we're being joined for the rest of this episode by a special guest, a good friend of mine, the host of Shock Sports Podcast, and my occasional broadcast partner, Eric Reffert. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
No, not much. You got to sit in the green room there with some of our discussion on that. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, or did we pretty much cover everything?
I think you pretty much got it.
All right, now we're going on to, since I am doing this bet the schedule every week, just going to give a quick rundown of my picks. That way you two can tell me how much of an idiot I am.
Is this straight money line, or are we going spread?
I strictly do money line.
All right, gotcha.
But go. My picks for this week, Chiefs over Colts.
Okay.
Even though they haven't looked the greatest, I'm going Bengals over Jets because they have the roster to do something. But if we're going off of the first 2 weeks' performances, I probably should have flipped that.
I don't know. I feel like that game could go either way on the money line. That's the way that went for the Bengals the past couple weeks. I don't know.
I have a feeling I'm about to get a 1-finger salute, but I've got the Browns over the Steelers tonight.
That's possible. I'm not going to lie. Anything's possible with this under 200-yard passing offense.
We'll get more into that here in a bit. Come on, Eric. The whole reason why I asked you to come on tonight.
Oh, I know. I'm waiting. I was just doing a little preview.
I've got the Eagles over the former Redskins.
Yeah.
Ryan saying, back to what you said, no such thing as a trap game in week 2. Anything can happen this early, and he apparently disagrees with me because he's saying no shot the Brownies win.
I agree with that.
Go Browns. Yeah, all right, Lou.
Oh, Lou. Too
right.
bad you guys weren't there at the same time because this dude used to be our shuttle driver. Cool as hell. Yes, I'm taking the Browns over the Steelers, Lou. Moving on, I've got neither team has looked great. And I'm just going to go here with the team that's got more weapons to work with, and hopefully they start doing so. I've got the Raiders over the Titans.
Yeah.
It's looking like that. Titans defense blows.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a limb here. You're both probably going to look at me like I'm stupid for this. But after what I saw in the last 5 minutes of the Sunday night games or Monday night games, Sunday night game or Sunday afternoon games this week, I might be starting to ride that train. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins look pretty damn good. All of a sudden, you had Tyreek Hill as a weapon, and Tua just changes. It's amazing, isn't it?
For sure. Now, I'm taking the Ravens over the Patriots, the Bears over the Texans. Back to that trap game you were talking about there, Dante. I'm taking the Vikings over the Lions. The next game is a tough choice. It all depends on the big factor here of how fresh are those ribs, but I'm still going with Chargers over Jaguars as long as Herbert's moderately healthy. Packers Buccaneers, this one was a tough call, but Tom Brady hasn't looked the greatest.
No.
He's still got too many injuries on his weapon score.
He just looks washed up. I mean, let's see. The first game, they only got like 19 points. The second game, only 20. The offense has looked lethargic for Tampa Bay. That defense has been carrying them, so that's how they got the 2-0.
Well, I'm looking at it this way. Brady is not. He's missing too many pieces on his team.
This will be his last season. He looks horrendous.
For sure.
This is the worst year I've ever seen of Tom Brady. I think he knows it's time.
It is also early, and he has still been missing Chris Godwin, so let's see what happens when Godwin returns. But as of now, you're right. It's not been looking good, which is where I'm going to put my money on the one-man team. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been carrying Green Bay for what, the past 15 years?
Literally, he's been the only thing on that offense and the occasional running back that can carry the load. But other than that, like, Jordy Nelson, after he leaves, he sucks, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers makes all these bums look great whenever he's throwing to them. I mean, let's be honest, right? He makes anybody look good as a wide receiver. He puts it in the right spot. I mean, it's hard not to catch, even if you're in the worst hands.
And we can definitely see that with the Devontae Adams move.
Yeah.
He does not look anywhere near as dominant of a receiver as he in Oakland as he did in Green Bay.
The first game, he did excellent. Got me like 16 points in game number 1.
All right. I'm definitely taking Rams over Cardinals. Now that they've got Jimmy G back, it's no question. I'm taking Niners over Broncos. Cowboys over Giants. Seahawks over Falcons. And to close it off, I'm taking Saints over Panthers.
Pretty solid pick.
Yeah, Panthers look pretty bad still, even with Baker in the mix. I think now we got proof for sure that Baker is not what he was when he was first drafted.
No. I'm wanting to know how much of a hit it is on his confidence, the fact that everything he's been through to get where he's at, because he does not seem like he's got that same chip on his shoulder as he did when he first debuted.
Well, I think he loved it in Cleveland. I don't think he wanted it to end. I think he's just hurt. You know what I mean? He's heartbroken. Can't get over the breakup. That's what I'm speculating. Anybody else think different?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he wanted to stay in Cleveland. I think the biggest issue that they had, I think
nobody wants to pay a backup quarterback $18 million. No.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just That's just ridiculous. I mean, going out and
Right,
get Deshaun
so
Watson, it was a good move, but I mean, I think keeping Baker there was.
I
don't know.
thought,
That's just
listen,
me.
I know a lot of Steelers fans can't stand Baker, but I thought he was a good quarterback for him. I thought they jumped the gun, personally. I mean, he literally played through a shoulder injury for you, and that's how you repay him? I don't know. I thought Cleveland screwed themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
And Deshaun Watson, I don't know how good he's going to be after a year and a half. I don't know. Question marks everywhere.
Literally.
We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, it's the right move for him. They're only paying him $1 million this year. So far, it's looking like a great move. We will see come year 2.
You talking to Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, well, since he's only getting paid $1 million, he still gets to play some games. I feel like it's a good move for Cleveland right there.
Yeah, but he might be killed. He might be killed in his first game back because he is playing against the team that he screwed over and royally pissed off last year.
Isn't that convenient? Like, what perfect ratings jump, right?
I mean, they kind of Cleveland had the schedule fall in their lap because their first game this year was against the quarterback that they just pissed off.
Well, I mean, I see that's the way the NFL's doing the schedule, and I like that. I like that's how they do it. You know what I mean? It's always a revenge game week 1. It always keeps you on your toes and excited. So keep it up, NFL, for that. And also keep it up on Thursday nights for having Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit.
Okay, so back to the Baker Mayfield discussion. Ryan popping in. I speculate he's just dog water, LOL, overhyped. And he's average, actually below average, because even my boy Dak is better than him. I don't know where you're getting at with that, Ryan, because Dak is definitely far above average.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. I think Dak's a very good quarterback.
When he's healthy, I'd put Dak in the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have ever even placed Baker in the top 15.
If Dak had better coaching decisions from the head coach, I mean, I think he'd be a better player, personally.
I mean, my biggest thing is Dak lost a lot of his dominance, especially on the fantasy board, after he broke his leg in half 2 years ago. Like last year, he definitely going into last year.
Amazing for me. In fantasy, you should know.
Last year, yes. Last year, I will say his QBR and his pass, his accuracy and his arm was definitely improved over him before. But if you would have seen his fantasy stats 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, but the year before he broke his leg, holy shit! I think he was the top ranked quarterback that year on fantasy.
Yeah, no. He definitely helped me out last year. I was really scared when I picked him up in the third round.
And what was the first thing I did? Early for a quarterback, but great choice. Now, are we ready for the fun where I think this might turn into a 3-way shouting match?
Okay.
Now, we're going to have the same debate for 3 separate teams for 3 separate reasons. But I don't know which way you're going. I don't know which way you guys are leaning. So we'll start with the team that I think the question here is on these 3 teams for different reasons is should they continue playing the veteran or is it time to give the kid a chance? The third team is going to be a different scenario because the third team's the team that the kid's already had the chance and is already the official starter, but I digress. We'll cover that last. We're going to start with the first team I want to discuss here on the quarterback situation, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should they continue playing Mitch Trubisky and let the veteran run, or is it time to give the kid a chance now that you're there, 0-2?
So
1-1? 1-1, and Trubisky has not looked the greatest?
Let's see. We signed Mitch Trubisky to let Kenny Pickett shadow him. We only picked him 20th. So I don't think it's too bad of an idea if we kept Mitch still in there and have Kenny Pickett still have the clipboard a little bit. To me, I think you just got to keep Mitch in. You're already comfortable with it. Stick with it. Let's get a good pick out of it. We never ever get enough of those as the Steelers.
I think for me, I kind of agree on that situation, but at the same time, I feel like if Mitch comes in and, by halftime, it's the same thing over the last 2 weeks, I don't see a problem making a second half move, at least for this game upcoming. I don't know if you stick with Pickett unless he plays a good game, but I don't see an issue with that and bringing him in. But at the same time, it's just kind of 50-50 on that. But I think Mitch is the starter for now.
Now, I only say this because we have to ask ourselves the question, is Mike Tomlin going to have the balls to do that? Would
No.
he? I don't know. He's stubborn. He likes to stick with his game plan, and he will never, ever change it unless somebody gets hurt. His ankle, dude, Mitch's ankle has to snap in order for Kenny Pickett to get in this game. I'm sorry. It's just the way it's going to have to be. Mike Tomlin's
I agree.
Sorry.
See, I'm gonna go actually, I hadn't even thought about this option until just now. But honestly, I'm gonna take a third route on this discussion because yes, I agree with your points of Pickett was picked late in the first. Give him some more time to learn. But I'm also going to acknowledge the fact that Trubisky has looked like complete ass over the first 2 weeks.
I do like what Ryan has said, though.
What did Ryan say? Because I missed it.
Mitch is okay. Let Pickett sit on the sidelines and learn how the game works. Don't bring him in and set him up for failure.
Okay, that's a good point from Ryan, and
that's kind of where I'm coming from on my point.
And I'm kind of going to lean towards a more out there scenario for Pittsburgh. But Mitch has looked like ass.
Yes. But is it because of the crappy play calling? I mean, they only let him throw 3 yards in front of him.
And Pickett is probably not ready. You do have a third option, though. I say if Trubisky doesn't start or doesn't do anything in the first half of this game, don't switch to Pickett. Let's see what Rudolph can do at the helm. He did look the best of the three in training camp.
Unfortunately, he is the backup on the depth chart, so that's who would go in as Pickett. So, based on the depth chart, Pickett goes in after.
I thought Rudolph was the second string. Pickett was third string.
It was changed 6 hours after they made the decision.
Yep, it was changed 6 hours after. So, is Kenny Pickett as the backup?
Well, fuck.
Yep.
All right.
That's why I'm like, well, I mean, if Mitch's ankle does snap, every single Steeler fan's fantasy becomes true. Kenny Pickett playing still in Pittsburgh as a starting quarterback. So that's the best case scenario for all Pittsburgh fans.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
For ticket sales, it's great.
Absolutely.
For jersey sales, for
playing
sure.
For the Pittsburgh professional team, that sells, dude.
Wait, what'd you call him?
Like the Pittsburgh Panther now is the Pittsburgh Steeler quarterback. You know what I mean? That shit sells. I mean,
okay. Well, you at first called him the Pittsburgh Kid, and I was going to correct.
Oh, he is from New Jersey. I mean, what I mean is Pittsburgh Kid out of Pitt quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right. Let's move on to the second team that we're debating on this. That I know I probably didn't prepare you for, Eric, because I wasn't sure if we were going to include it, but.
Okay. Well.
Now, there's a reason why this debate is needed to happen. I understand why they would want to keep playing Rodgers because he's carried the team for how many years and he still looks good. But you've got first round pick quarterback that is now in the fourth year of his contract.
They drafted him. What? I will look at when he was drafted. What position they took him at, just to be sure.
He was either late first or early second.
Yeah, I'm gonna verify.
But either way, you drafted him to be the future of the team and the heir to Aaron Rodgers. You've now got him in his fourth season, and he's still on the bench.
Yep.
If he's not going to be utilized, if you're not going to give him the fucking field, pardon my French again, but if you're not going to give him the field, isn't now the time to either trade him to make for whatever value you can, as opposed to letting his contract run out and not take the 5th-year option. Because if there's a lot of speculation from Green Bay fans. I was just talking to one earlier today that's saying that's adamant that this is going to be Rodgers' last season. He's retiring, and that's why starting next year, it's Jordan Love's team. My problem with that is Jordan Love's in his 4th year of his rookie contract.
Actually, this is year number 3.
This is only year number 3?
Yep, he just drafted in 2020.
2020, 21. Oh, okay.
It says here. Yeah.
Well, then I digress. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Either way,
year number 3. It's still, he got drafted 26th, which is a very low pick. So it does make sense to keep him on the bench this long. If he's not top 15, then you are expected to be on the bench probably 3 to 4 seasons.
Okay.
So this is right around where he should probably be coming in, either this year or next year. On any other team. Remember, this is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about, okay? There's no way you're beating this guy out unless you have like a perfect passer rating every preseason game. Okay? Aaron Rodgers is beating you.
Okay, so I guess we need to remove the Packers from this debate because I had been going off of a faulty recollection. I thought he was on his 4th year.
Yeah, I mean, even so, I mean, the sample size that you've gotten from Jordan Love is not good.
It's not.
He's thrown more picks than touchdowns. He hasn't been the only
he only had
any type of
game last year.
Yeah, I mean, even in preseason, he threw three picks and out of 12 passes. Like he doesn't look good at all.
He did get in a couple times. It looks like 5 attempts, 4 completions this season. Looking pretty accurate, 80%. Last year he played in 6 games. He only started in 1, but that brings his starting record to 0-1 in the game he started. So there you go. Not looking too good. And yes, in that start it was 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. That's it for him. That's all we have.
Now the one that I'm really curious to hear you guys' take on, because I've got my opinion, but I don't know how popular it's going to be. Andy from our buddy Andy, Packers fans say he's been doing well in preseason for Jordan Love, which okay,
I'll take your word for it.
I don't. Unfortunately, I can say preseason performances mean jack when it comes to when the games actually count. Once the home season opener kicks, but
I believe he threw like 2 interceptions on one, in the couple of series he went on. But
I definitely want to see
back-to-back drives he threw interceptions on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was both series he went in. They just sat his ass down after, like, man, sit down.
I definitely want to see Jordan Love get more field time this season to gauge
as long as
whether
Aaron Rodgers is healthy, his heart's beating, he's alive, it's not happening. So we'll see. I'm just here to bring the truth. Through tight windows in preseason. Okay, not Love's fault. Okay,
that's a very solid point.
I didn't see it. I'd have to take your word for it.
Well, we'll have to just trust Joe Bomer on this one.
So,
yes, Andy, you did, and I don't know if I should say thank you or thank you or no, sorry, not thank you. Jesus God, I don't know if I should say you're welcome or I'm sorry for that because I kind of instigated that.
I see. That's funny. But
the discussion that actually, Andy, what are you doing right now? Because you can get in on this last debate with us if you're available. Just let me know in the comments if I should send you an invite real quick.
I guess it's time for a smoke break.
Well, let's see what Andy says. Waiting to pick up his son at practice, so that's going to be a no-go. Okay. Well, tell the kiddo I said hi. Anyways, we're going to get on the third one, which is the one that I'm most curious and the one that I have the strongest position on, which is not going to be the popular opinion for most of my fan base. And by my fan base, I mean the fan base that follows the same team I do, not my personal fan base here. But the Jets quarterback situation, Flacco versus Wilson.
Look, okay. Now, this is why it's different for me when it comes to the Jets. You literally drafted this guy second overall.
Dante disappeared.
That's okay. You drafted Zach Wilson second, okay, in the draft. You have to put the guy back in. You went all in, okay? It's like in Texas Hold'em, okay? You got the pocket aces. Guy goes all in. You literally called it and go all in with them. You literally went all in on that pick, second overall, on Zach Wilson. You got to go back to him. That's what you're paying the guy for.
Okay, so you're saying, well, let's break down before we start giving our takes on this, let's break down where we're at with the season and what we've seen so far. And what we've seen so far is glimpses of the Super Bowl MVP that once was with Joe Flacco, who has the third most passing yards over the first 2 weeks, is ranked as the third best quarterback in the league after the first 2 weeks. Single-handedly picked apart the Browns defense last week on that miracle 2-minute warning comeback, and has already shown great chemistry with the receiving core versus Zach Wilson, who we haven't even seen this year because he got hurt in preseason. So who's to say what kind of chemistry he would have with the receiving core at this point, since it was the first game of the preseason he got hurt on.
All right. I'm literally looking at Joe Flacco's projections right now. If he would keep going at this pace, and his stats look insane if he kept on going. You ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead.
He would get, at this current pace, he would have 536 completions out of 876 attempts, which is excellent. That's a 61.2% at his age. 5,200 yards. He would get 43 touchdowns and 9 picks with a 90.1 quarterback rating right now. That's insane.
Off of the first 2 games performance.
Yeah, that's literally what he's on pace for if he keeps this up. Looking at that, might change my perspective a little bit. But if you're going to go in the direction of Joe Flacco, I think you got to trade Zach Wilson and get something for him. This is something you're going to have to think about. I wouldn't waste his career. I'd let him go somewhere, maybe get a couple draft picks that could help me for next season with Joe. But okay. I wouldn't go with some dude in his 30s. I'm sorry. I mean, I would put Zach Wilson in, but if you're going to go in that direction, you have to think about trading Zach Wilson.
I wasn't saying as a permanent thing. I wasn't saying as like in the situation with the Jets. It's more a matter of, my question here is, given that Flacco's been as good as he has over the first 2 weeks, does Wilson automatically get the reins back when he's healthy week 4? Or is it a matter of what I'm asking is, should they continue playing the hot hand with Flacco until he fucks up?
Yeah, I really don't think you should be doing a hot hand thing with a young quarterback that really hurts their confidence, could wreck their whole career. So comes to football, you got to put the young guy in. Joe Flacco understands he's not as good as he used to be, even though he's being excellent right now. I'm sure Joe could demand a release and somebody would sign him. Pick him up just like that. Who needs a quarterback? Texans, they might call him up. How hot he's playing. But you got to go with Zach Wilson. You got to go with the young guy that you drafted second overall. Otherwise, what a waste. Could have went somewhere else.
Dante, what's your take?
I agree. I mean, I think for the most part, I mean, don't get me wrong, Flacco is moving and grooving right now. I mean, nobody can say otherwise.
I can't deny it.
I mean, I think for me, at least from what I've seen, I mean, you can't ride it on just him doing good on a couple games. I mean, I think Zach Wilson looked amazing at the end of the season last year,
He
and
definitely did.
then you go out and add Garrett Wilson to that. I think I think the offense is moving in the right direction. I think whenever Wilson gets back, I think it will pick up. I mean, you got Flacco, who's an aired out quarterback. He's not giving you that dual threat capability, and you add Zach Wilson to that, along with Brees Hall and Michael Carter. I think that's a great offense.
Now, where is it?
Oh yeah, I think Garrett Wilson's an excellent receiver. I thought that was a great pickup by the Jets from the beginning, and he shows it in week 2. I like the trash he was talking against that 12-year-old kid. That was hilarious. I already love the guy. I want a Garrett Wilson jersey. He's funny. But I mean, I know a lot of people got offended, but he was literally MFing the whole section, booing him like any other player does when they're the visitor.
Yeah,
So,
I thought that was hilarious.
Just because the 12-year-old kid's in front of him, you know what I mean? He wasn't just yelling at the damn kid. He was yelling at the whole section. Just so happened the camera showed a nice, shiny 12-year-old in front of him, making him look bad.
Now, the other thing I want to
thought
point
that was
out
funny.
here, the other thing I want to point out here that is also might be influencing my call on this one, because where I stand on the Jets debate, I personally say until he fucks up, leave Flacco where he's at.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could.
But the other thing that I don't know if you guys have heard that kind of leads me in that direction is, who would you say is the biggest weapon the Jets have right now?
God, after week 2, I'd have to say Garrett Wilson. Those catches he was making, crazy, dude. I knew that was good pickup.
And so, being reported from ClutchPoints.com during a recent interview, Garrett Wilson was recently asked about the difference between catches passes from Zach Wilson and Joe Flacco. The rookie receiver stated, "There's definitely a difference. There's a lot of experience there with Flacco. I feel like everything with him, he takes some pace off, can put pace on the balls. You know, he kind of does a good job making the pass receiver friendly."
And that's kind of the goal you want with a quarterback. You don't want them zipping at 100 mile an hour every time. If
Now,
they need to.
If this is coming from your biggest receiving weapon,
Mm-hmm.
and he's even saying that he prefers Flacco over the choice, not to mention Flacco's performance over the first 2 weeks, does that add any change of pace to your opinions on the debate? Like, could this be a chance for them to sit back and fix the mistake they made last year? Because honestly, I'm a big proponent for teams taking the first year or two of a rookie's career to let them sit, learn the system, learn what they're doing, learn the difference between college and NFL. Too many teams nowadays are taking the wrong approach and drafting a quarterback and throwing him right to the fire. The Jets did it last year and it didn't. And to be honest, until he got hurt, Wilson kind of looked like trash the first 6 to 8 weeks. It wasn't until he got hurt, sat on the bench, and watched Flacco and White play for a couple games that he started to calm down. Do you think maybe giving him the second year here behind Flacco might be a benefit to him so he can learn more the difference between the two systems?
I think you're cherry picking statements. Really, I think any receiver would like a more experienced quarterback playing. Just saying, they know how to place the ball better. But I totally understand why Garrett Wilson would say that. Of course, you would want a more receiver-friendly ball. You don't want a ball coming to your chest and knocking the wind out of you every time. You know, like I want those nice and easy. Yeah, that's what that veteran quarterback's going to do. Yeah, of course. I'm not surprised that a wide receiver would say that.
Yeah, I think, again, just for me, I just have to go back to that just the last season. I mean, they had a couple questionable marks as far as wide receiver goes. And like I said, you go out and get Garrett Wilson. And if you look at the last four games for Zach Wilson, I mean, he looked amazing last year. I mean, granted that is last year into this year, it doesn't really mean anything. But when you're looking at what he did, I mean, I think he played really solid down the stretch the last couple games. But I mean, coming back in and just being consistent is just his biggest question mark. Is he able to be consistent? We'll see. But if he is, then you make the right choice. And if he isn't, then I guess you should have stuck with Flacco in the end.
It's a tough situation. I mean, yes, Andy Kramer, I know they would not trade Wilson, but if you're going to stick with a veteran, he's like, what, 34, 35 or something like that?
Flacco, I believe, is 37.
Oh, my God, that's what I'm saying. So you probably only have a 1 or 2 year window with him. I mean, that's why I would go with Zach Wilson. So I'm probably going to go with Kramer and say, yeah, you got to start Wilson as soon as he's back, just because. Do I want 15 more years or do I want 2 more? You gotta weigh those options.
Again, though, you're not taking what I'd said into account. I'm not saying keep Flacco as the permanent starter. I'm saying play him until he starts slowing down here. If he's the hot hand for the early part of the season, keep him
the
playing.
Hot hand stuff works with goalies in hockey. This isn't hockey. This is football. Quarterbacks, it's different. The egos are up here in football. Ego's a thing. You got to be able to contain it.
Okay.
It's a thing now. Think about it. Odell Beckham Jr. One guy can wreck your whole locker room. That's all it takes. Or Antonio Brown.
Geno Smith.
It takes one guy to wreck it. Like.
Can we still go back and talk about how classic that is when your starting quarterback gets his jaw broke by a person on his own team?
Well, that's just a lot of shit talk to just go on too far. I mean, them football practices against your own teammates can get crazier in the games. So yeah, I'm not shocked. I've seen it. I've seen offensive linemen and defensive linemen kill each other in practices.
Hey, wait a minute. Let's go back to that on Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the helmet issue with Mason Rudolph a couple years ago?
So the on-field brawl where for some reason Myles Garrett decided to still sack Mason Rudolph 20 seconds after the ball's thrown. Of course, Mason Rudolph has some questions. Why the hell are you going to tackle me that late?
Oh my God! No, it was not a late hit.
Yes, it was.
He
still kept on driving him down after he threw the ball, dude.
Rudolph's hand was here in the pass when Garrett connected.
Okay, but they're still standing up, and you can tell they stopped. Like there's not momentum there, and he's still just right after, still carried it over. Like he's an asshole.
He was mid-swing on the throw. That was a fair hit.
Like you could tell they were he was about to settle down. Then he said, "Hell no, I'm doing something dirty here." Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, Rudolph tried to rip off Garrett's helmet. Garrett said,
"That was after the fact." Watch that again, dude. Selectively fucking remembering it as usual. Stupid.
No, I think you've got your Steelers shaded sunglasses on, and you can see.
No, I don't. I remember it exactly how it happened, dude. It's bullshit.
I agree.
How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this?
Share what?
Screen.
So put it up. Come on, man. I know you can do it on this.
I'm trying to figure this out right now. I've not done this before. Okay.
All right, let's see
that. Let me bring. Okay, perfect.
I mean, you could have put it up as soon as you got on YouTube. That's okay. I'll sit here and watch you look it up. Hey, Jamie, can you look that up? Fucking.
All right. Every moment in life is a bet. Like betting on how spicy the atomic wings really are. But life doesn't offer you up to $1,000 back in free bets if you don't win. So when it comes to the NFL, bet on FanDuel and make every moment more.
Hey, while we're at it, FanDuel, sponsor us.
Yeah. Do it. Look. The play's way over. You should have let him go. Way down there. Oh, my God. How could you not see that?
Absolutely, Dan.
Whoa. Oh, there it is. Oh, shit. And, of course, Marquise Pouncey doing the right thing, sticking up for his quarterback. The other guy just, tackles Mason Rudolph for no reason. That was Ogunjobi. He plays for us now. I love you now, Ogunjobi, but at the time I wanted to hurt you.
coming out of this.
There may be suspensions.
That's right, suspensions.
No, really?
Hold on. I just realized I probably shouldn't let the commentary overplay because, NFL copyright laws.
It's okay. We're borrowing it.
Either way,
Hey,
yes.
Fair use. We're doing it to review the footage. It's fair use. Fair Use Act. Actually, Copyright Fair Use Act. It's actually
Yeah.
covered.
Now let's see if we can find.
We're using it for educational purposes. We're going to educate
right,
you how
look.
fucking dumb you are. You
Ball
ready?
back.
Look, way over. Why is he still driving him down to the ground? Like, come on, dude. It's clearly over. Unnecessary. He's trying to ask him, why the fuck are you tackling me? 8 seconds after the ball's thrown. Like, look, it's bullshit. The fucking ball's all the way down there by the time it gets driven into the ground. Tell me how that's not dirty. Please. And of course, I would question him too. That's bullshit. He had no right to swing his helmet at him like that. Unnecessary.
Well,
And then look, the other guy. What the fuck is Mason Rudolph gonna do?
wait.
This guy's this big. I mean, what the fuck you need to beat up a quarterback for? You pussy.
Well, in a league that's all big about concussion protocols and shit, can we talk about the dirtiest offender right here? Number 53.
Yeah, doing the right thing. He's sticking up for his quarterback.
Kicking a
Any center
motherfucker.
would.
Not doing the right thing.
You're damn right. You're supposed to do whatever it takes to defend your quarterback.
Kicking
I
dude in the
respect
head.
that.
Dude's already freaking covered by 6 people.
I don't
And
give a
he's kicking
shit.
him in the
You
damn
don't
head.
ever fucking hit a quarter, especially with a helmet. Dude, all bets are off, dude. It's a gang war on the
The
football
only
field.
person in this whole situation that deserves respect and was actually doing the right damn thing is that man right there, number 66. Trying to pull them apart and get
How's
it-
he
get it
been
separate.
doing? Unemployed? Any unemployment line? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Maybe my opinion of DeCastro's a little biased because he refused to give me an autograph years ago. So fuck him. He's unemployed. Karma's a bitch, isn't it?
But anyways, for those of you watching at home, first you want to tell them where they can catch you there, Eric?
Well, if I ever do Shock Sports podcast again, you can do at Shock Sports Pod. You can see all the old episodes that I had. Maybe I might be doing some sports gambling stuff.
Well, for
Shows
the sake of Running Force Productions, I sure as hell hope you start doing Shock Sports again, because
I know my busy ass schedule with pro wrestling, but fucking shit, dude. Yeah. So what the hell was I gonna say?
Shock Sports Pod at Shock Sports Pod at Eric _Reffert _ 96.
Social medias, and I guess if you want a little preview of my 5-leg parlay tonight, come up.
Oh fuck!
It's just 5 legs. I mean, I got 2 of them, but I did like one of the boost bets on FanDuel.
I might as well get mine up too, because I have a parlay on tonight as well.
Let's see. All right, so here we go. Here's my parlay. This is a 5-leg. It's like plus 3,400 odds, which is incredible. Of course, I got 2 anytime touchdown scores in Nick Chubb and Najee Harris. So I know both of them could get touchdowns in some shape or form. I got Mitchell Trubisky under 200.5 yards. No way he's going over 200 tonight. Nick Chubb, I got him over 82.5 rushing yards. And I got Pittsburgh Steelers covering the spread at positive 4.5. I believe all those will connect.
All right. And what were your odds on that?
Plus 3,400.
Okay, mine's a little bit more out there than yours, because mine is a plus 4,000.
Okay, so you got a little bit more crazier. A little bit.
I've got Cleveland money line. George Pickens to get his first touchdown as a Steeler.
That is a stretch. I hope now here's some good news on that. I'm sure you're paying attention to the news because Mitch Trubisky did say he was targeting George Pickens more. So, way to read the news on that. Go ahead.
And then I've got touchdowns on the Cleveland side from Chubb and Cooper.
Okay. See, that's why you have the receiving touchdowns. Those are harder to get. Way harder to get.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Anytime touchdown. So if Chubb runs
but
for a touchdown.
getting a wide receiver, that's what I'm talking about. Those are harder. Because you have to specifically throw to them. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes games, they're cold. So, it's really risky to pick a receiver for an anytime touchdown scorer. But, yeah, no, I mean, that's why it's kind of higher.
Yeah, unless you're Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, unless you're Cooper Kupp, then you just know to pick that motherfucker. Look, every Ram game on your parlay, Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown has to be one of them.
Oh,
Cooper Kupp pretty much anything.
It was
Cooper Kupp anything.
Cooper Kupp over receiving yards. Cooper Kupp touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was half of my parlay on the Rams game that I hit. But can we talk about? I went 3 for 6 on same game parlays last week
There you go.
because I hit the Jets Browns one. I hit the Ravens Dolphins. I also hit one on the Rams game because I put Rams money line, Stafford to throw for over 255, Kupp to catch for over 80, and Kupp to get a tutty.
See, that's what I'm saying. If you could do Kupp everything and it's a safe bet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I love about betting on Rams games. There's certain teams I'll bet on Steelers games just because I know how the Steelers play. I know how to fucking bet, and I just won $130 just because I knew the Steelers were going to lose that game for some reason. I picked the under. I can tell you exactly what I picked on the Steelers Patriots game. Oh, it was awesome. I was stoked, but unfortunately, that's on Fox Bet, and I don't feel like going over there. But I had a Damian Harris touchdown. I did pick the under on the score. Damian Harris anytime touchdown score and a Najee Harris touchdown score. And they all happened.
Yeah, I think Najee Harris is going to have a pickup game.
So I have Najee Harris getting another touchdown this game. I think he's going to get his first rushing one of the year tonight.
All right. Anyways, you already covered the socials. Dante, you want to give the fans your socials so they can start following the new co-host of Mooncutter Sportscast?
My socials.
17
Pull it up here.
195248763, right? I'm joking. That was just a random number I just pulled out of my ass. That is not anybody's social security number that I actually know that I'm aware of.
Bum, bum, bum.
No, but seriously.
And say you could just guess you could follow my Facebook page. And then say follow me at Ruski Beats and just look that up on Facebook.
Ruski Beats?
Yeah, should pop up.
Okay. I have no clue to spell that, or I would have put a banner up. So
ROOSKI.
all right. Anyways, Dante, I look forward to seeing how this relationship continues moving forward. As always, you can follow me at TJE Joker. That's TJEGEOCUR on Twitter. Mooncutter Sport at Mooncutters on Twitter for the podcast. And if you want to help us the most, subscribe and follow us on YouTube. The link is now in all of the stream links for this show. So if you're watching this on Facebook, Twitter, please check through the link or episode description. Click that link. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Monetizing on YouTube is going to be the quickest way for us to start making money doing this, to start being able to give you a better product. This is Joffrey being joined for the first time of many by Dante and special guest Eric, who dipped the hell out as soon as he got done with his socials. For Mooncutter Sportscast, a proud affiliate of Running Force Productions, signing off.